But this, you talk about how it can change your life, and it drew you to write a book about blood sugar, which I think was just a fantastic book. But the philosophy behind this is like, well, you're not allowed to do that. You actually need food that looks like you want to eat it, rather than just good health food, right?
Absolutely. I felt let down when I had a stroke. I felt let down by the diabetic community. I felt I was following the rules, following the diet, doing everything, and I still ended up nearly dying. So I thought, there's something wrong here. The diet is undeliverable. There's too many people saying, don't eat this, don't eat sugar, don't eat fat, don't do this, run, walk, and it's like you're just bombarded with what you should and shouldn't do. And I thought, if we can create a diet that's appetising and sort of engaging and a little bit stretched at the edges, so it takes into consideration all of the rules that are there,
which is also our behaviour with food.
If you can create a philosophy of eating that is deliverable, your batting average will be far higher. And like blood sugar as a name is meant to be provocative. It's supposed to sort of be a bit confronting. Who calls a cookbook blood sugar? God, but it was to stimulate the conversation. And the book has been a huge success. It's led me into many other things, talking to many different people. It's influenced a lot of people. And I had a guy come to see me the other day who's a crazy, I reckon one of the healthiest men I've ever seen, walked in and he's like a trainer to world champion boxers and all this sort of stuff. He said, I got your book. He said, I love it, I want to meet you. And he came in and we sat and had a talk, and he was talking about all the same things that the rules wrote for him when he was studying physiology and nutrition and all that. He said it was just like bad for my brain. I couldn't get my head around it. He said, and you've simplified it to such a point that I can communicate it to other people.
This is the problem, isn't it? We tend to, or doctors will say there's something wrong and we need to change our diet, we need to, if we want to lose weight, they say get off carbs and all that sort of stuff. But it's actually not sustainable, and that's I think the greatest problem we have, is that we need something that becomes a lifestyle, so it's actually something that works with your life.
Absolutely.
Whether you're busy, you've got kids and you're crazy, you've got to have something that's going to work for you, or it's not going to last.
Yeah. Well, I've got this thing, it's like binging. We're a society of bingers, right? We get some money, we go shopping. We want to eat, some of us get on the drink sometimes, and I felt on the diet that the rules were so hard that you're living on the diet and you're going, right, I'm being a good diabetic, I've trained every day, I haven't eaten anything, my carbs are down, high protein, and then it's Friday afternoon and the bottle of wine comes out and a lump of brie goes on the table and you're like, I'll have a quick glass of wine, I'll have a bit of brie, and then out comes a chocolate brownie and you have a bit of that, and you think, and then you're off the wagon, aren't you? You've been on the diet, now you've fallen off. Once you fall off and then the brownies come out, then the ice cream comes out and I just have a spoon, and you think,
just got me my dinner last night.
But then it ends up a couple of days and you get to in your Sunday afternoon saying, I've done no exercise this weekend, I've been, Friday night led me into a bad pattern, so then you're down here bouncing along in a bad space. So Monday morning you wake up and go, right, going to the gym, I'm eating quinoa for breakfast, I'm eating poached eggs, and you're back binging. So you've got this up and down, which is really bad for your blood sugars, really bad for your sort of energy levels anyway. And I just think that if you can have a more balanced and deliverable thing, your batting average will be higher. So you have a higher level of stable blood sugars, and food that you can just put in the middle of the table and people don't even realise that it's good for them.
Because there's certain things, and what interests me is that, having eaten at O'Barn Dining, your food is very reflective of your philosophy going forward, and I think that's really interesting, because when you go to restaurants, it's kind of like, chefs go, well, just chuck it all in there, and I went somewhere the other day and there was a porcini cream and this and that, and I was like, well, I don't want the cream and I don't want that, and but you've found a really wonderful way of presenting food that you feel like you're not missing out on anything. But there's certain things you just avoid.
Look, the idea is to make a healthy choice. So, I sort of say to people, O'Barn Dining is the world's most glamorous healthy choice restaurant, but we're not a health food restaurant.
No,
there's a big difference. But you can eliminate those things and substitute ingredients and flavours, and you can still work. And people eat something that didn't realise that it was healthy or good for them. But look, I'm not a saint. I spent a vast part of my cooking career, throwing butter into sauces just to make it shiny and thicken it up. So when I put it over the piece of duck or something, that it looked fantastic. I couldn't care that I was adding massive amounts of saturated fat already to a dish full of saturated fat, but it looked shiny, it tasted fantastic, and the customer liked it.
So what do you do now?
Well, now we would do like fresh pestos and things like that, and more sort of simple sauces. We certainly don't thicken with butter. We do a little bit by reduction. We might whisk, if we do anything, we might whisk a little bit of olive oil and make a hot vinaigrette and things like that, or even leave the big rich sauces off. You know, people aren't eating as much nowadays because they're hungry. They're eating for a social environment, to be social. They're at dinner, they're doing meetings, they're having, fun with friends, sort of thing. So the food we're eating, whether we realise it or not, is a lighter style of food. And Australia leads the way in that. We eat great Vietnamese and Thai food, and we eat a lot of seafood, sushi, all that sort of thing. We have a pretty good go at it in this country anyway. And I was watching just the news last night, and there was the journalist being interviewed, and in the background there was a street scene, and all the people in the street scene looked remarkably healthy, and I just thought, we were like an obese nation. It was like, that was Pitt Street, you didn't see all like sort of big bumbaladas walking up the street with their bags. The backdrop was quite healthy, and I thought maybe we're getting somewhere without realising. I don't know, but
I don't know. I think it also sort of depends on where you are as well. I think in terms of demographics, and the problem is that unhealthy food is cheaper. And it's a time factor that people don't have the time to sit down. And